Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. If you're looking to get more sales, more customers, master your marketing, and ultimately take control of your retail or e-commerce business, then you're in the right place. I'm Selena Knight, a retail growth strategist and multi-award-winning store owner whose superpower is uncovering exactly what your business requires to move to the next level. I'll provide you with the strategies, the tools, and the insight you need to scale your store. All you need to do is take action. Ready to get started? Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Now, I have a little truth to tell. As I'm recording this, I'm late. I am so late. Podcasts go out on a Friday. It is currently Thursday, the 13th of July, and I've actually recorded a few podcasts, but I didn't like any of them. And I decided to start again, start from scratch, throw those out, and try and create something with a little bit more value. So you're probably hearing this a little bit late. I'm guessing that this is probably going to go live on maybe Tuesday next week instead of Friday because of me. And the reason for that, quite simply, is the last few weeks have been really tough in this household. We've had a medical diagnosis that is going to change our family's lives forever. We have had several dog surgeries. In fact, as I record this right now, our black greyhound is being operated on in a very expensive $8,000 surgery to have his Achilles tendon joined back together. A couple of weeks ago, Sahara, our blonde dog, she started off by taking her to the beach and she sliced her foot open, emergency surgery to get that stitched up. And then she blew up like a balloon. Now, if you know greyhounds, they're like super skinny, right? She blew up like a marshmallow. In fact, she put on 5 kilos. So that's 12 pounds in the space of a couple of days. We were told she was dying. Yeah, it was just an emotional roller coaster the last couple of weeks. Good news is, many thousands of dollars later, she's not dying. The puffiness is a side effect of the high blood pressure medication, because who knew that dogs that sleep all day could ever get high blood pressure? It has just been it's been one of those times where it feels like thing after thing after thing just seems to land on your plate. And in the middle of all of that, you still have to get up every day. You still have to parent. You still have to be a partner. The washing still needs to be done. People still need to be fed, and you have a business to run, right? Sometimes you've got to say no to things. And realistically, for me, I said no to recording a couple of podcasts. But that's a season. You can't be like that forever. So I am taking that moment out to record today's podcast. And these last few weeks have made me really grateful that I have money. Now, if you don't know a lot about me, I grew up pretty poor. We had days when we didn't have enough money to go to school because there was nothing to put in our lunch boxes. We would just have to have, toast for breakfast, toast for lunch, and something really cheap for dinner. And we never went on holidays. There were not a lot of choices to make when I was growing up because we didn't have the money to give us choices. And the last few weeks, I've always been very grateful that I have worked very, very hard. In fact, I worked 2 jobs when I was straight out of school. I worked 2 jobs for many, many years to be able to have money in the bank. And nothing that we have has ever been given to us. Both my husband and I have worked really hard for everything that we've had. And so coming from my background, I am super grateful that I have had this ability to make money. And yes, sometimes it's a struggle, and money isn't everything. But one of the reasons I am so passionate about helping you guys to make more money is when you end up in situations like we've ended up in over the last few weeks, The simple fact is, whether you like it or not, money gives you choices. Money allows you to make decisions based on what is best versus fear or versus what I can afford. Now, there's always going to be times in life when it's like, what can I afford and what is value driven? But having the choice of, potentially putting down a perfectly healthy dog because we couldn't afford the surgery, I am so grateful that that is not a decision that we have had to make. We get to keep our doggo. He's going to be super happy. It's going to take him a little while. And we get to continue on to be a family. And so, that little bit of background is just to kind of tell you why I am always focused on money. It is not coming from a place of, I need to have oodles of money. I don't need to have a Lamborghini. Cars are not really my thing. The reason I want to have money and the reason I want you to have money is because when you have that safety net, you have breathing space. Like you have that opportunity to take a step back and take a breath and say, okay, what is the best position to move forward? Let's be honest. I am still a tight ass these days. I will make no bones that I am always looking for a bargain, but I tend to work more on value when I come to spending my money. So sometimes I will buy the really expensive thing because I know that it will either give me great pleasure or it's going to last a really long time. Prime example, we needed to buy a new sofa recently. The sofa I wanted was on sale for $3,000. Now, that's still an awful lot of money, in my opinion, for a sofa. And I wasn't quite prepared to spend $3,000 for a sofa. And so I put an alert on Facebook Marketplace, and lo and behold, here turns up the sofa, a couple of months old, bought to style a house, the exact same sofa. I didn't have to wait 11 weeks. I didn't have to do any deals. And to be fair, the store did not want to do any deals. I had a budget, which was not $3,000. I put it forward to the person who was selling, and I didn't really care either way. Like, of course I wanted the sofa, but I didn't really care either way. The world was not going to end if I didn't get the sofa. Sure enough, the morning that the lady was moving, she called me and she said, hey, if you can come and get it today, it's yours for the price that you wanted to pay. And so what I'm saying is, even though I had the money to buy the sofa brand new, is to me, there was no value in that for my purchase. So yes, you can totally be, tight with your money, but it also is about seeing the value in an opportunity or in a product or in a scenario and being able to make a choice, again, not based on fear or how much money is in the bank, but what you think is in the best outcome for you. And what I have discovered from being a tight ass is that when you are looking for the cheapest way to do things, a couple of things can happen. One, you can luck out, like me and the sofa. Almost a brand new sofa, picked up on the day for the price. But generally, what I have found is when you try to go with the cheapest of something, inevitably you end up with a whole bunch of things duct taped together, like a patchwork of things duct taped together that inevitably break or they don't do what you need them to do. So you're constantly trying to add things to get the scenario or the outcome that you want. And I see this a lot with tech. Not everybody, lots of people want the free version of something. And then they're trying to hack the system, like your free version of Canva. And then they're trying to hack the thing rather than just paying the $20 to get Canva Pro and being able to do all the things that you want. When you are trying to duct tape everything together with the cheapest scenario possible, it ends up costing you a lot more time, a lot more of your sanity. And a lot of the time you end up having to spend the money on the thing that you were originally looking at, but you've wasted all this time in the process. And so what's that got to do with today's episode? I'm glad that you asked, because trying to find inspiration for today's podcast, I picked up trusty Facebook because you guys are fantastic. Like, I just go into a Facebook group, scroll the problems that are coming up, and I'm like, hey, podcast episode, here we go. So scrolling. I see not one, not two, but 3 people posting in a business group about the exact same scenario. What was that scenario? Maybe it's a scenario that you have been in as well. All of these people owned retail or e-commerce stores or retail or e-commerce brands, and they had posted things to influencers in the hopes of getting some kind of content out of it, or a post on that influencer's Facebook, Instagram page. And guess what? All 3 cases, nada, nothing. And one person was only, I say only, that's a very flippant, but one person had put up $75 worth of product, one had put up a couple of $100 worth of product, and one had put up nearly $1,000 worth of product. And I hate people getting ripped off. Like, honestly, when we had our agency, the whole reason we had an agency was because I was so tired of seeing people get ripped off. Like, we are very transparent in our pricing for everything. I offer a money back guarantee with all of my products. And I am tired of hearing bad stories about you guys spending money or giving money or product away in the hopes of getting something in return that never eventuates. And realistically, you have no recourse. Unless you had a contract and you can afford to enforce that contract, the simple fact is you lost the money. You made a poor business decision. You lost the money. So that prompted me to write today's episode, which is how you, my friend, can sell more with no extra inventory and regardless of how many people you've got on your Instagram, no influencers required, and it's not drop shipping. Are you ready for it? Okay. Let me start with a story. When I owned my retail stores, and if you haven't been listening for very long, I used to own eco baby stores. So we had our own manufacturing arm, we had stores, we had online, and then we even had like home party plant. Now, I was always looking for opportunities. And you're probably like me. You're always looking for these opportunities. Which ones do I take up and which ones I don't? Anyway, I can't even remember how it ended up happening. I can't remember if we approached them or they approached us, but somehow we ended up creating a relationship with a baby first aid company. In fact, now that I say that, I am pretty sure it is something that our customers suggested. And so I tasked my team with finding a baby first aid, so pediatric first aid class that we could at least tell our customers about. Long story short, we found a lovely company. We created a relationship. We gave them space in our store to run the classes after hours. And in exchange, they gave us a referral fee. It's like win, 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 win. So the customers won because they got something that they really, really wanted. The pediatric first aid people, it was like all their Christmases had come at once. It's like, you're giving us a space and you're giving us customers and we don't have to do anything. Like, thank you. And we won because we were building that brand loyalty. We were building up that customer experience, but then we were also getting paid a referral fee by the company to do it as well. And on top of that, they were giving us an event space rental company, rental fee as well, because it meant that they weren't having to pay that to somebody else. So here's the thing. In business, even though you may not have kind of cottoned on to this yet, is that an Australian saying, cottoned on to it? Even though you may not have been exposed to this yet, paying a referral fee to a fellow business is pretty common. It's pretty standard. It's like business 101. In the kind of B2B market, it's often called affiliate marketing. So for example, we have this great product called Countdown Hero. It's countdown timers that you can use on your website, inside of your emails. And we tell you about it. We think it's fantastic. If you buy it from our link, we get a referral fee. It's not very much. It's a couple of dollars, but still, every little bit counts, right? You guys probably know it more in this sphere of influencers. So if you are heavily into the influencer marketing, you'll know that influencers quite often get paid an amount to do the promotional part of it, but then they're quite often paid an affiliate fee, like a referral fee for every order that they send to your website. So this is not an uncommon thing. And this referral business model is something that you probably aren't putting into your business. But what I like about it is it doesn't cost anything apart from some time and, creating a product, maybe applying a plugin to your website. It does all those things I mentioned before. It builds your customer experience. It builds your brand. You get to tap into the customers of a whole bunch of other people, and you do this with pretty much no risk up front. But that's one way of looking at it. But what if it was you? What if you were being paid the referral fees? So instead of you paying influencers to promote your product, how about you team up with other people, just like I did with the first aid company, and they pay you a referral fee? Like, hello? Am I making sense to you? Because if this is like a little bit vague, keep listening. I'm going to give you some examples of how you can do this. And in fact, how some of our clients, it's really hard remembering to separate the word customer and client when we're talking about your customers and our clients, because they're our customers. It gets very, very confusing. So I'm going to give you some tips on how the people inside of our programs are using this to increase their revenue without spending any money on inventory, without spending any money on advertising. It's just money in the bank. And that, my friends, is something that I want you to catch on to. Okay. So sometimes your customers don't know that they want something. Like in my case, it was people asking for the baby first aid. But in your case, it could be that they just don't know that these things existed. All right, here's a really random example. And I haven't really thought about putting it in context in a retail store. Yes, okay. Say you own a paint store. So household paint, wall paint. And someone comes in to get their paint and they say, this is my situation. This is a real life situation. I live on the side of a hill. I've managed to paint 3 sides of my house, but the front side of my house is 5 stories off the ground. I don't know what to do. How do I paint the front of my house? Do I need to put scaffolding up? And you, the paint store owner, say, hey, Sam, not a problem. I know Jim. Jim and his team do aerial ropes painting. I kid you not, I had no idea these people existed. I don't know how. Anyway, you give me the card for Jim, the aerial ropes painter. I hire Jim, the aerial ropes painter. And because I told Jim that you, the paint store, gave me the card, Jim pays them a referral fee. The customer doesn't pay any extra. Jim just knows that to get a customer, it's going to cost money, and he would rather that money go to the paint store owner because they are building a relationship. Does this make sense? Right? Nobody loses here. As the customer, I'm like, holy heck, I'm going back to that paint store because they can solve any problem. Like, I came up with the most random problem. My house is 5 stories off the ground, and they managed to sort it out for me. Like, why wouldn't I go back there? Jim, the painter, is happy because he just got a hot lead who transferred into a sale, and it cost him nothing until after I've paid him. So he's not paid the paint guy anything until after I pay him. And maybe he gives the paint guy a couple of $100 as a referral fee. Everybody wins. What you aren't thinking about as a business owner, because you are too busy thinking about all the other things you have to do, is that you, in your own right, whether you have 5 Instagram followers or 5,000 or 50,000 or 500,000, you are an influencer in your own right. It could just be the people who come into your store. It could be the people who come onto your website. Maybe it is your social media. It 100% is your email database. And so if you are not leveraging the people who already love you and trust you and trying to make that, if you don't constantly try to make that experience better, then there's a good chance that you could lose your customers to somebody else. Does it make sense? Okay. So let's take it into maybe a little bit more of a common scenario. Say you have a fashion store. You're probably good at picking out clothing, but are you in the position to be able to do things like in-home styling sessions or shopping sessions? I've got a friend of mine who does this. She takes people out shopping to buy, their whole wardrobes. And so by you having this network of people, let's call my friend Alma, let's just use her name. If you have a friend called Alma who is a great stylist and will take people shopping, in fact, she'll even do your shopping for you, then can you see as the shop owner, simply by referring Alma to your customers, everybody wins. You're providing a service that your customers want. If they don't want it, they don't pay for it. But if they use it, Alma wins, you win, customer wins. And not enough of you guys are doing this. In fact, I would say like less than 1% of you are actually thinking about the relationships that you currently have and how you can use them to leverage that customer experience. But let's be honest, to make more money. Because right now, there are a certain group of people who are spending. And those people who are spending are willing to spend especially well on experiences. Convenience and experiences. How are you going to make their life easier? And how are you going to give them back more time? Because even the richest person in the world only has 24 hours in a day. And if they choose to have a housekeeper who does all the menial tasks for them, it means they can spend those 24, well, they got to sleep, but they can spend those hours that they would have been doing those tasks doing something that they enjoy. Same with shopping. A whole bunch of people, like myself, don't actually enjoy shopping. No, you would think in retail it would be like my funnest thing ever. No, I love building businesses. And so the concept of somebody going and doing my clothes shopping for me, it actually scares me, which is why I haven't done it. But the concept of it is amazing. The reality is I don't know. I don't understand why I'm too scared to do this, but I'm not your ideal customer if that's the case. But then I have a friend who she does this with Alma all the time. Alma just delivers a whole bunch of stuff. She tries it on. She sends back what she doesn't want. You just think about that. If you did that in different sections of your life, how much more time do you get back? And even if you use some of that time to work on your business, how much more money could you make? And I bet that if you spent the time that you're doing on menial tasks, actually focusing on the tasks that make money, you would make more than the person who was doing the thing for you cost. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. And so thinking about what those scenarios look like, what do those relationships look like? Sometimes it can be other products. So I've talked a lot about services, but let's go with product. I'm trying to think of a promo. It happens quite a lot in business. For example, the countdown timer. I don't have to buy anything to sell you the countdown timer. I just have to put a little bit of extra work in to tell you about it, maybe add some extra things in to make you want to buy it if lots of people are promoting the same thing. So what I wanted to say is if you have a scenario where you have this opportunity to create this affiliate model, but maybe there's a whole bunch of other people who are selling the same thing. And it's like, well, how do I get my offer? How do I get people to buy from me? How do I get my offer to stand out? And so what I want you to think about is how do you personalize that for your customer? Because the reason people buy from you is not the same reason they buy from somebody else. And so when you understand your customer, you are able to tweak the offers. You can, put in extra resources. Maybe you've written an ebook. Maybe it's like a one-on-one session or a time with your team. Like think outside the box. What can people use with whatever you're offering to make it better? So let's say you found the perfect thing. In my case, I'm just going to go, you guys can take my first aid scenario. Like if you are in the fashion space or you have anything to do with kids, 100% go out and find yourself a kids photographer, family photographer, and a first aid person, because they are two. And my third one that we used to do was a stylist. So not a personal stylist, like a home decorating stylist, especially relating to storage. So they were the three big relationships that we used to leverage and promote. And we would do, so here's my next tip. I haven't done this very organized today. So the first thing is find something you can promote. Find that relationship or a product that you can promote that's not going to cost you anything until, it's not going to cost you anything, but you're going to get the referral fee or the affiliate fee from that sale. The second thing is when you go to promote it, this is not just a random posting on your social media. You have to create a proper promotional campaign. And that means putting just like you would a product launch. Like think of it exactly like a product launch. The pre-hype emails, the emails that are going out before the product drops, VIP access, images of your team potentially using the product or wearing the product, just all the things that you would have inside of a launch. You have to build the hype. You have to get the sales. And then the other thing that I will take from my scenario that worked so well was pictures of my team doing the thing. And so in this case, pictures of my team at the first aid course. So sitting in the room or kneeling in the room because you have your little fake babies with the trainer. And because my customers knew my team, that connection it just built the relationship and the trust even more. So don't rely on stock photos. If you have any option to be able to get one of the products or to work with the service provider, if it's a stylist, a picture of them inside of, one of your homes, or if it is we also worked with a chef who did like meal prep. I'm thinking we worked with a hairdresser. These things worked for us so well that as I think about it, because remember, this was a little while ago, these things worked so well because it was everything that a busy mum needed. How do I do my hair really quickly? How do I create storage for my toddlers? How do I make really healthy meals? Like nowadays you have, the Hello Freshes and I don't know what's called in the UK, in the US, you've got the blue something, like all those meals to you. Hey, if you can find one that resonates with your customers that they would connect with, you go to town on that thing. Because if that's what your customer needs, if you have a customer who's a busy mum, we're going to take convenience all the way. So think way outside. What is it that your customer needs? What are the problems that they're facing right now in their everyday life? And how can you make those things a little bit easier? Now, I will just put this, because this is kind of a newer thing. It's been around for a few years. If you are doing that sponsored by affiliate type thing, remember, especially on social media, you've got to declare it. Okay, so they're kind of my three big things. Make sure that you run a proper promotional campaign. Find a product that should have gone first, right? Find a product that your customer relates to, and make sure that you do it all by the book. You declare the fact that if you're going to make a commission, you're going to make a commission. There are a lot of different ways that you can take your business to the next level. And I swear I say this like 27 times a day when I'm on coaching calls, or I've been on some strategy calls lately. And it's like, I just feel like I say this, it's like my mantra. Making more money and making more sales isn't some revolutionary thing inside of your business. It is not one thing that you change that can 5x your business or 10x your business. It is little incremental things. Something like this. Something like increasing your average order value. Little things that give you exponential growth. You've got to think outside the box. You've got to be willing to put the time in to create an action plan. Because right now, I'm pretty sure that this sounds like a great idea to you, but you have no concept about how you could even implement it. Am I right? And it probably happens a lot when you're listening to podcasts and when you go to conferences. Like, these are fantastic ideas. I just don't know how to implement them, or I just don't have the time to implement them. And that's the mentality. And that is the rut that you can get yourself in that stops you from growing your business, that stops you from increasing your sales, increasing the money in the bank, because you get so stuck in the day to day. But you cannot lose sight of the fact that your business needs to make money first and foremost. Because unless you've got a crap ton of venture capital out there, the business doesn't continue without cash. And so if we can make you more money, if we can get you more sales, if we can get you more customers to spend more money, then you make more money. You can invest in yourself. You can invest in your business. You can invest in your team. And then ideas like this, you can put into play rather than them being yet another thing on the to-do list that you might implement, but it will be totally half-assed and you will not go, a proper promotional strategy. You won't do it long-term. And then you complain that it doesn't work. I'm not saying you will. But what I'm saying is if you don't have the time to dedicate to create something as a whole, there is a time for when done is better than perfect. But there is a time in business when you have to step up and you have to commit. And that means not doing half-assed marketing campaigns. It means not, throwing 10 things at the wall to see what sticks. It's about doing what works and doing what works for you and doing what works for your customer. Making sense? Getting into that little brain, getting it ticking and ticking and ticking. Quite often I find, especially in our 5X program, I find that people have just been in a rut. And it is concepts like this, whether you implement them or not, but it is concepts like this and being around people who are like-minded. And I know that word gets bandied around a lot, but if you're in a Facebook group of people who are whinging and you're in a Facebook group of people who are actively taking action in their business and seeing results, which one is going to spur you on? I know which one spurs me on. I've just joined a new mastermind. I'll have to do another podcast. Holy freaking gosh. I'll have to do another podcast on everything that I have done over the last 3 weeks, because on top of all the poop that has landed in here, I have built out entire training programs for new staff. We've been hiring, onboarding, interviews. Like, the business is growing. And meanwhile, my life was kind of imploding in the background. But having people around me who are seeing results and who are telling me things like, this is just one of those seasons. It's just a really short period of time. I did have one person say, this is the universe testing you to see if this is what you really wanted. And hey, I'm totally okay with a bit of woo. We're about to come out the other side, and things are good. Things are much better. Like that intense period of tumultuousness and growth. Well, the intense period of tumultuousness, I can't even say that word. The roller coaster that I've been on over the last month or so, on the other side is like a ridiculous amount of growth, like way more than I could have ever expected would happen in a month's time. Looking back, I don't even know how we have managed to achieve everything that we have done. Having those people around me, having those people who buoy your spirits and who keep you accountable and who have the knowledge and can tell you what you can say no to and what you should say yes to, that's made all the world of difference to me. And it's really been able to help me focus what I spend my time on. And as a result, I was going to say productivity. That's kind of a crappy word. But the actions that I have taken have led to this exponential level of growth in just 4 weeks' time. And so I guess where I'm leading to is, if taking some time out of your business to focus on what really matters, to be able to decode where the obstacles are, which of those obstacles should you actually be tackling right now? Because the fact is, there's always going to be obstacles. You can't tackle all of them at the same time. But if you find the ones that are those, like the landmines, I guess, and if you can move them out the way, what is on the other side is so much more than tackling these little ones. Well, if that's the kind of thing that works for you, then I am super excited to say that I'm saying this, I think it's the 5th and 6th of September. How do I not know this off the top of my head? My brain is very tired. The beginning of September, if you are inside of any of our programs, if you've bought our 9 Ways Masterclass or any of our workbooks or you're in any of our programs, you have access to a golden ticket. And that golden ticket will let you into TRA Live, the Retail Academy Live. We are holding that in Melbourne, 2 days. Pretty sure it's the 5th and 6th of September. And in those 2 days, this is not a conference, right? You should know by now that I don't do fluff. My live events, not fluff. In those 2 days, we will take action. We are going to uncover what is holding your business back. We are going to reclaim, I reckon, at least 10 hours in your week. We're going to sit down and work through where can we get you time back. We're going to tell you what you should do with that time, or we're going to work with you to show you what to do once you have that time back. We're going to build you out a roadmap. We're going to show you how to build a cult brand. And we're going to build you out a roadmap. We're going to put it all together. And by the end of 2 days, it's a 2-day event. By the end of the second day, you will be super clear on where your business is headed, what is holding you back, how we're going to tackle those obstacles, and in what format and in what order, so that you come out with a plan. Let's just say we're going to audit your business. That's a good way of summing it up, isn't it? I should write that somewhere. We're going to audit your business together. We're going to build out a really clear roadmap so that you know what you have to do to focus on growing your business for the next quarter. Now, this is what we do inside of our programs. So you're kind of getting like VIP access into our programs for nothing. Because if you have one of those golden tickets, you hold in your virtual hand a ticket to that event. And all you have to do to secure your spot is to log into our training portal and grab your space. Here's the thing. We have only got a limited number of spaces because the venue is gorgeous and I am super excited, but I've also limited the number of seats and it's capped. I've capped the venue to be able to fit as many people as possible, but to give you guys help. So my team is actually going to be there, and I'm going to be there too. My team is going to be there to help you guys along. This is one of my live action days, but there's 2 days, live action 2 days, where if you want to get real results, this is the kind of place you need to be. Take 2 days out of your business, come and hang out with us in Melbourne, and let's move your business to the next level. If you are listening to this and you want to come, you need to log into the portal and secure your ticket because there aren't very many left. I'll be honest, there are not very many left. And I can't make any more space. Like the numbers are capped. We're not moving to a bigger venue. This is the space. If you are listening and you would like to come along and you have not purchased any of our programs, if there are any tickets, in the unlikely event that there are any tickets, feel free to send us a DM. We can put you on the wait list. But you could just jump in, grab the 9 Ways to Move Old Stock Masterclass. I'll put a link in fact, there's a link in my bio in Instagram. I'll put a link onto the show notes as well. If you come into that program, we still have some tickets left. So we are going to give you the ability to come to that event for free if you are one of our program members. For everyone else, if there are any seats left over, you're going to have to pay. Sorry about that. But this is one of the bonuses of working with the team and I. And if you're watching the video, as I look over to my whiteboard, I am super excited to see we have guest speakers coming in. We have exercises, like action. I say exercises. Well, I guess I could put some exercises in there, but we have action time. So none of this going home and having to do it in your own time. You will walk out of the door with a clear plan on what to do for the next 90 days. Like, how's that? Where else do you get that? Nowhere. That's why you're hanging out with me, because you are an action taker. So I don't have a URL to give you because there is no URL. Like, I don't have anywhere to send you other than if you are inside of our programs, make sure that you log into the portal and you secure your ticket like stat, because we are, less than 2 months out of the event. There are some tickets left and I wouldn't want you to miss out. So this is my opening it up to those of you who maybe haven't logged into the portal for a little while, giving you the heads up, giving you the lowdown that this is your time to take action. Take some space out of your business, get that headspace, have a team of people surrounding you who can help you build out the strategies, and do something for you for a change. Forget about everybody else. And if you want to talk about this kind of affiliate stuff, we'll come and have a chat. Let's have a chat. We've got our networking drinks. We've got our action time. You can hang out with me and the team, meet us all in person. I can't wait. So head over to the members area into the Retail Academy portal, secure your spot. And if you're listening and you're not inside of one of our programs, you can drop us a DM and see if there are any tickets put you on the wait list. I don't think that there are going to be many, given that we're more than halfway sold out already. But think about this as we wrap this conversation up. Whether you come to our event, whether you don't come to our event, what are you doing to actively increase the sales in your business? I've just given you a strategy that you can implement. It won't cost you anything. But if you actively work on increasing your sales for the next 90 days, it'd be kind of obvious that you would increase sales. But if you are constantly flip-flopping between 1,000 different tasks and you have no focus, then you're going to be overwhelmed, you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be taking an awful lot of action, but it's going to be action that isn't going to be seeing results. So if you want results, come and hang out with the team and I in Melbourne, September. See you there. Alrighty. Thanks, guys, for listening to the podcast, and I will see you back here again next week. Bye. So that's a wrap. I'd love to hear what insight you've gotten from this episode and how you're going to put it into action. If you're a social kind of person, follow me at @TheSelena and make sure to leave a comment and let me know. And if this episode made you think a little bit differently, or gave you some inspiration, or perhaps gave you the kick that you needed to take action, then please take a couple of minutes to leave me a review on your platform of choice. Because the more reviews the show gets, the more independent retail and e-commerce stores just like yours that we can help to scale. And when that happens, it's a win for you, a win for your community, and a win for your customers. I'll see you on the next episode.